Do you think you picked up on all of the little hints and details from episode 1 of The Last of Us? Think again. The Last of Us finally hit HBO Max, and fans are raving about this video game turned TV show after its action-packed and emotional first episode. But there are so many amazing layers to the show that it is almost impossible to keep up. Fortunately, we are here to help. In this video, we are going to give you an exclusive look at some of the behind-the-scenes moments and actor interviews from the show, and break down 10 things you didn't know about HBO's The Last of Us. Make sure you stick around until the end. Number 8 will leave you scratching your head, and you will be genuinely surprised at what you missed. So let's get right into our list. Starting with number 1, the strong chemistry between the characters starts off screen. Great acting helps make for a good show, but real relationships between the actors take a show to the next level. Right away in the first episode of the new show, the chemistry between the characters jumps off the screen and keeps us invested. Before we have our hearts broken in the first episode, we are drawn quickly into the relationship between Sarah and Joel, from their witty back and forth. Off the screen, this relationship is just as strong, as Nico Parker and Pedro Pascal developed great chemistry while shooting.
Nico Parker, my original daughter, my Sarah. She is the person that I live for. Without her, I don't have purpose.
He's the best. I could not ask for a better on-screen dad.
We can expect to see a similar chemistry between Joel and Ellie moving forward, as the relationship between Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey off the screen is also very close.
Yeah, the chemistry, it was just immediately this bond, unspoken connection of we're both embarking on this huge journey together.
With that being said, it gives us the perfect bridge to number 2 on our list. The show is built on emotion. From the relationships on screen to the emotions that jump out at us, the show hits us hard in the feelings, and we've only seen one episode so far. Craig Mazin, the creator of the show, has made it clear that this is his goal. From the start, the show is designed to pull us in and touch on powerful emotions and concepts.
We wanted to replicate for everybody, whether they had played the game or not, the experience of a man who was closed off and broken, just opening up, even you didn't even realize it's happening.
When watching the show, we can't expect anything less than true authenticity and emotion from start to finish.
Also wanted to feel the ache of this girl who is lonely and lost and has never had a family, has never had belonging, and has never been protected.
So if you didn't know, you're going to need a box of tissues nearby as you watch. Still, you aren't the only one emotionally invested in the events, bringing us to number 3 on our list. The terrified reactions in the show are the real deal. In watching the first episode of The Last of Us, we have no complaints about the passion and authenticity demonstrated by the actors on screen. And when we take a look behind the scenes, we learn that this passion is 100% genuine.
A lot of the time with acting, you're not always seeing what you're reading and what the audience is seeing. So a lot of the time you're kind of making up in your head, which on one hand is really amazing because you can create this whole narrative in your brain that then you get to follow through with.
We are drawn into the impressive set design on the show, and all of the details stand out on the screen as we watch, and it's clear that these details were well in place during production, making the acting even stronger. Nico Parker talks about how easy it was to react to real tangible scenes.
The amazing thing about Fort McCloud is it was you could just really immerse yourself because it's all in front of you. Any time where I was scared, I was genuinely really scared. Dad!
These genuine reactions make even more sense as we turn to number 4 on our list. The infected are beyond imagination. Once the cordyceps fungus takes over a human being, the infection takes over quickly, turning the victim into a zombie-like creature called a clicker. As we watch the show, we are freaked out by the idea that this could happen in real life. This fear is freaky enough on its own, but seeing the characters on the screen really takes the fear up a notch. Many shows get by using CGI and or puppetry, but that is not the case in The Last of Us, as everything was done practically with actors.
It was all practical.
It was very practical. It was too practical.
Very practical.
All of the infected people in the show are played by real people, making the experience all the more real and even scarier for everyone involved, including the actors.
I mean, it was creepy because the actors playing the clickers, that's all them.
The infected in the show are all actual people in terrifying prosthetics and makeup. They are making their own noises and doing their own choreographed movements. This made the reactions from the actors on screen all the more authentic, as they were also creeped out by the clickers.
That was them, and also the all the sounds, that was all them in the room. And so that was my first experience of a clicker. And so that was frightening.
Now, let's change gears for the 5th item on the list. The show features a familiar voice. If you played the original video games, then there is a good chance that Marlene's voice sounded a bit familiar to you. The actor from the show, Merle Dandridge, is the same person who did the voice acting for Marlene in the original video games. Merle is also the only actor from the original game, making her appearance even more special and even more powerful. However, Marlene's time spent voicing in the video game makes her even more perfect for the role. Although she may be the only actor from the original game, we still see plenty of inspiration from the initial story, taking us to number 6 on the list. The show is a clear tribute to the video game. Did you pick up on all of the ways The Last of Us paid appreciation to its video game roots? There were plenty of small details from the show that were designed to either directly parallel the video game. The camera angles in the truck scene mimic the camera angles from the truck in the video game. The moment when Sarah gifts Joel the watch and the two watch a movie is also shot exactly the same as the video game, all the way down to the way the box looks. Many of the lines in this scene are the same as well. Many other lines throughout the show are taken from the game as well, like when Joel asks Ellie if she's some bigwig's daughter or something. The truck scene is also almost a mirror image of the video game. Did you notice any other scenes from the show that paid homage to the video game? As we watch future episodes, we will be looking for even more parallels. But like we said, there are so many layers to this show, making us pay attention to more subtle details, leading us to number 7. The show has many subtle hints to the video games. You probably didn't notice some of the more obscure touches that point to the video game. In the first episode, clocks are a key theme as Sarah goes to get the watch fixed. And we hear clocks ticking, and we see other clocks throughout the episode, like when the cookies are baking in the oven and when Sarah gifts Joel his fixed watch. This is a subtle nod to the video game as the game's storyline opens with a clock ticking. The ticking of the clocks also resembles the sound the clickers make, serving as another hint to later in the show. When we see Sarah searching through Joel's drawers for money, this is another hint to the initial game, which searching through drawers is a big part of. Altogether, it's clear that the show creators are incorporating plenty of small nods to the original Last of Us saga. Did you pick up on any of these tiny details? Let us know down below. Let's turn to an even more subtle detail from the show, with number 8. Reflections help tell the future. Did you catch how mirrors and reflections gave us hints of what was to come in the first episode? If you didn't, don't worry, we had to do a second watch before we picked up on it. As we follow Sarah throughout the day, we are given small, subtle hints that things are going to go wrong. For example, we see our first sign in the classroom, as the reflection from a classmate's watch keeps shining on Sarah as he twitches his arm. And we know later that his twitching is likely because of the fungus. When Sarah is walking into Ms. Adler's house, we see the reflection of the old woman in the TV screen, giving us a hint that she is going to be someone to pay attention to in the near future. Throughout the day, these signs don't hit us right in the face, but they are giving us small clues. This concept really takes our appreciation for the show to the next level, pushing us to analyze every little moment and keep our eyes peeled during future episodes. Seeing just how much effort is put into the very small details of the show gets us even more excited about what we have yet to see. As we watch, we need to stay on our toes, as there are other hints to later events also, leading us to number 9. The episodes have many clues. Foreshadowing is a key theme in The Last of Us so far, so we can't turn away from the screen if we don't want to miss anything. Sarah is wearing a shirt for the band called Hallican Drops. This is another callback to the video game, by the way. Not only is it a callback, but the tour locations on the shirt are likely to be the locations that Joel visits in future episodes throughout the season. We also see more foreshadowing at the end of the episode when Ellie cracks the code for the radio, learning that 1980s music is a signal for trouble. As the episode ends, the song Never Let Me Down Again by Depeche Mode plays. Since the show was released in 1987, it is a sign that trouble is to come. Once again, the show is keeping us thinking and paying attention the whole time. And finally, for number 10 on our list, the show is full of brand new potential. Although we can clearly see the inspiration and parallels from the video game, the creators were not planning to get by just copycatting the original game. Co-creators of the show, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, have been very clear that they want to expand on the video game and not just retell the story. Thanks to this, we can expect plenty more to come from the show. There are 9 episodes to this first season of The Last of Us, but we can probably expect at least 1 or 2 more seasons to follow, as the creators have already discussed the possible routes for future seasons. Still, they don't want to overdo it either, so we shouldn't expect a drawn-out series that gets old. As Mazin has said, one of the nice things about television is you get to begin and end characters' stories over and over again, and beginnings and endings are the best, so we will see an end eventually, but we imagine that the future of The Last of Us is bright. Speaking of endings, that wraps up our list of 10 things you didn't know about The Last of Us. What stuck out to you from the first episode of The Last of Us? Did you pick up on anything that we missed? Let us know in the comments. Share this video with your friends so they can see what they might have missed from the show also. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get inside looks and exclusive breakdowns from all of the hottest shows and films right now. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video.